This is Judge Joe Brown, and you're watching We All Be News TV, the
News-free Dixie.
News-free Dixie for the 21st century.
Welcome, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, to another wonderful edutainment edition of The Artivist Thinks. And I want to hit you all, once again, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, with what I think about what's going on in the world today. And I had to weigh in on this because I got a lot of feedback and a lot of people interested in finding out what I thought about Bill Maher. As you know, unless you've been hibernating for the last week or so, Bill Maher came under scrutiny and fire for using the term house nigger to describe himself during an interview he did on his show, his very popular HBO show, Real Time with Bill Maher. A lot of backlash from people in the so-called black community and other folks, but Bill Maher thought he could use the word because he's down with the brothers and sisters and down for the cause, and he loves to bang black women and all this other stuff. He gave $1 million to the Obama campaign, something like that. So he thought he was a white dude with a hood pass, as they call it. But here's the thing. Well, people don't understand. I've seen people weigh in on it, from the everyday person to the celebrity to whatever. And here's the thing. Bill Maher has not passed the John Brown test, the John Brown litmus test. See what I'm saying? No matter how down black folks think he is or he think himself to be, he has not passed the John Brown litmus test. To me, John Brown probably the only white person in the history of this continent of America that could get away with using house nigger, because he banged for black liberation. He just didn't bang black women. I don't think he banged any black women while he was living on this planet, but he banged. He was down. Brown was down with black. He was down to bang for black liberation, to free black people, put himself and his sons and his family in harm's way to help liberate black people in this country. Even gave his life to the cause of black liberation in this country. Dick Gregory believes he's the greatest white American who ever lived. I know some people might agree. A lot of black folks from that era had a lot of respect from John Brown. People like Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. He wanted Harriet Tubman to be there at Harper's Ferry with him, but she was sick at the time. Even Frederick Douglass, years later, as he was, I believe, speaking at Harper's Ferry on behalf of John Brown, before a black audience, I believe, even he admitted that maybe John Brown was more down than he was for black folks. And Frederick Douglass, you know, he was saying that, hey, John, I ain't gonna be at Harper's Ferry, my man. You know, I love my people, but damn, man, I can't be at Harper's Ferry, yo. But anyway, that's how Bill Maher think all black dudes talk. Yo, man, all this stuff. You know, we all thugs and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is John Brown put himself on the line. He sacrificed his life. His sons, he had a lot of kids. Just like a lot of brothers. Got a lot of kids, right? No, I'm joking. But even his sons lost their lives on fighting for the liberation of black people. John Brown was willing to kill other white folks to liberate black people. Do you think Bill Maher is willing to kill other white folks to liberate black people? John Brown did that. White folks thought he was crazy. But like John Brown said, if I was fighting, to paraphrase, if he was fighting on behalf of white folks or wealthy white people, he would be deemed a hero. But look how he's been portrayed over the last 100-something years in movies and literature and whatnot. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. But Bill Maher is not on the level of a John Brown. Bill Maher is just an entertainer. He's a comic. Bill Maher is not interested in trying to liberate black people. He's more interested in trying to spread the legs of black women than he is trying to liberate black people. And ain't no knock on anybody, but I'm just saying it is what it is. It's like black folks don't understand, like what Dr. John Henry Clark tried to tell us so many years ago. If the person staring back at you ain't your friend, then goddamn it, you have no friends. Black folks really don't have no allies in the system of racism, white supremacy. All we got is me, myself, and I. We must depend on us for our own liberation. But what I'm saying is, people, they get into this thing about having white friends. I recently attended a lynching memorial, commemoration, whatever you want to call it. A young black man was lynched in Alamo, Tennessee, about 80 miles or so, maybe like 80-minute drive outside of Memphis, Tennessee. He was lynched back in 1929 for allegedly assaulting, i.e. raping, a white woman that he worked for, which was not true. But they killed him anyway. And he was about 19 years old. His name was Joe Boxley. And it was 2,000 white folks that said was there. And it was interesting being at that commemoration because you had some of the most powerful politicians in the state of Tennessee there, along who were white, of course, and also Representative Johnny Turner and State Representative Reginald Tate from Memphis. They represented black folks. You also had the descendants of Joe Boxley there as well. Actually had the white woman whose dad owned the property that Joe Boxley was lynched on. They threatened to castrate him. They said you could either be castrated or you could drop off this wagon and hang yourself. And so he chose the latter. And so they put a note, a sign on his body that said, do not remove until 4 p.m. Thursday. So you had all these white folks coming around looking at the body, taking their kids to look at the body. But this woman who father owned the property where this man was lynched, she's actually also the county historian. So she actually had 3 rare photographs of him lynching or hanging from the tree, excuse me. She had 3 photographs that she kept in her personal collection of this man hanging in the tree. The photographer is unknown, but you see in one picture a crowd of white men smiling, laughing at the black man hanging like strange fruit from the tree. And it was interesting because this is a small town. So I was asking people, I said, look, do they know? And the guy who organized the event is a good guy. His name is Jim Emerson. But his uncle was the sheriff at the time of the lynching. See, they dragged this black man. I guess they dragged him out the jail cell and hanged him from the tree, an oak tree. And he organized the event. So I asked Jim and I asked some other people there. I know y'all said that the folks who did this horrible thing to this man is dead, but will it be possible for posterity to get the names of the actual participants in this horrible crime? Because this is a lynching. This is illegal. This is when you call off law and order and civilization. So they said, well, basically they telling me, what's the point? But I'm saying this is the problem. You got the descendant, this woman who uncle was Joe Boxley. She was actually named after her lynched uncle, down here with her family from Connecticut. And all y'all can do is all we can do is to say our bad so many decades later. But my thing is this. Where were Joe Boxley's white friends or white allies in his time of need? What good is it for you to have white friends that won't even stand up for you or protect you when you need to be protected? Why is it so many so-called black celebrities and politicians running cover for Bill Maher? Where are the black politicians and celebrities for Bill Cosby? I'm just saying, like, white folks have a code. Their uncle could be the worst person in the world, but they would not turn their uncle in and let him die on his deathbed, confessing to his sins, so he could get into heaven. Because they say in Christianity, if you confess it with your tongue and you ask for forgiveness, you could get into heaven. That means Hitler could get into heaven for killing all those people. So, like, it's funny how I always tell people, you can't beg the devil for mercy. He can only give you more hell. The devil is only qualified to give you more hell. So, getting back to the Bill Maher thing, I don't really think black folks have got the way protecting Bill Maher. Now, I like Bill Maher. I've been following him for a long time. When he had a show on ABC, when they railroaded him for freedom of speech, he improves the point. You know, almost 20 years later after 9/11, he's still relevant. And he's a thought provocateur. And I like him. I enjoy his show over the years. Very informative. Although some things I don't agree with him on, because I even look at atheism as being a religion, because you believe in something. Anything that you believe in is a religion. So Bill Maher is no better than a Baptist or a Catholic or a Muslim or anybody, because atheism is a religion. But like I said before, the litmus test is John Brown. And if a white person say they're a friend of black people, besides having sex with our men or women, you gotta be willing to put your life on the line for black liberation and for justice for black people. And if you can't pass that John Brown litmus test, then goddamn it, you ain't no friend of black people. You're just a person that has benefited in a system that have denied certain privileges, access, and humanity to a darker hued people. Okay, black people, you understand what I'm saying? I have no animosity towards Bill Maher, but he's no John Brown. Just like the dude told Dan Quayle during the vice presidential campaign debate. You know, he said, I think what Lloyd Benson was the guy, the senator from Texas. He said, when Dan Quayle tried to compare himself to John Kennedy, he said, sir, I knew John Kennedy. I served with John Kennedy. And you, sir, are no John Kennedy. I have not met Bill Maher. I have watched Bill Maher for years. I have enjoyed his commentary and his comedy. But you, sir, are no John Brown. Because black liberation is no laughing matter. It's a serious business. So when in doubt, refer back to Dr. John Henry Clark, my dear brothers and sisters. If the person staring back at you at the mirror is not your friend, then goddamn it, you have no friends. Thank you so much, boys and girls, scholars and laymen, for listening to Brother Ron. I just added my 2 cents. It's just my opinion. Everybody got one. Like, you know what? But if you like what you heard from Mr. Hurd, please spread the word. Please subscribe. Support the We All Be movement by any means necessary. Give in the way you know how to give. But I'm always encouraged when I'm out on the road, whether I be in Kansas City or yesterday in Alamo, Tennessee, people recognize me and know my voice and know the word of Mr. Hurd. So I'm just very encouraged to keep on this marathon for truth, justice, and liberation for the people, by the people, and with the people. So in the words of the great Duke Ellington, we love you madly. Keep on producing and pushing. Power.